Question is that the bill be now read a second time. Senator Kwek.
Mr. Speaker, I fully support this bill as it will go far to help our built sector in their moment of greatest need. I spoke to a number of players in the industry, and they have voiced appreciation for the government's COVID-related support. This include controlling the pandemic despite all odds, reducing foreign workers levy during the height of COVID, pushing forward additional government support projects, getting banks to provide much-needed support, proceeding to pay for some government projects even as constructions were delayed, and through this bill today, pushing for a moratorium in legal actions arising from the delay. The recent announcement to remove foreign workers levy during quarantine is also very welcomed. Nevertheless, COVID represents a big and complex crisis for the industry. Beyond this bill, it is necessary to arrest the manpower cost surge, which has led to a dramatic increase in construction costs. This can be seen in the escalating costs of successful BTO construction tender bids from pre-COVID days to today. Now, the surging of manpower costs is in turn largely due to three factors: the cost of safe management measures, high attrition of existing migrant workers, and difficulty to safely bring in adequate replacement of migrant workers. Let me go into the details. First, the cost of SMM is unavoidable because it's the price of keeping COVID under control. Second, we are seeing higher worker attrition because many workers want to return home to be there for the family during COVID, and some workers went back but could not return. And some industry players are also worried that after vaccination, some of our workers may leave Singapore and seek what they believe is greener pastures, given the widespread migrant worker shortage in other advanced economies. Now, due to this higher natural attrition, a number of migrant workers, especially those in smaller firms, have asked for hefty pay increases in return for staying on. MOM has recently limited the number of workers that companies can poach from one another, and this has reduced the pressure. But the real solution is to ensure the safe replacement of sufficient number of migrant workers. And so that brings me to my third point, the challenge of bringing in replacement workers. The industry faces high quarantine costs of $2,400 per migrant workers, which has not decreased even as we move quarantine from hotels to dedicated non-hotel facilities. And despite the COVID insurance, many firms fear the potential extra medical costs in the range of tens of thousands of dollars should any of their incoming workers suffer from severe COVID symptoms. As such, while large companies working on projects with healthy margins and has the financial muscle and the cash flow to absorb this cost in the short run, we need to urgently resolve the safe replacement to help the rest of the industry along. After discussing with some industry players, I would like to propose this. Given that a large number of general construction migrant workers come from countries such as India and Bangladesh, is it possible for the government to work with the built sector to forward deploy resources in key cities in these countries, given that COVID vaccination is proceeding very slowly in Asia? For example, can we run commercial processing centers in those cities that this will give us full operational control to ensure that testing is done by vetted vendors? The workers who have passed the test or who have already acquired immunity can be immediately transported to Singapore safely, and once they arrive in Singapore, they can be immediately get tested and vaccinated during quarantine. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me conclude. COVID has brought upon an existentialist threat to the built sector. Decisive and effective government action has put off the worst outcome for the industry, and the extension of the temporary measures today is very much needed to give the built sector more time to achieve a soft landing. Moving forward, the built sector is grappling with surging costs, which means higher construction costs for Singapore, diminishing margins for most part of the industry, and increased risk of project delays and chain bankruptcy. Even as we push for the built sector to achieve higher manpower productivity in the long run, It is necessary for us to do more to bring in adequate replacement migrant workers in the immediate future. And this will ensure that as much of the recent construction cost surge is transient rather than permanent. With that, I stand in support of the bill. Thank you.